Hi there, this is Tata, and welcome to the Wrestling Time Post Show. It is Wednesday, April 5th, 2023, which means tonight I will be reviewing AEW Dynamite. Now, so much happened tonight, arguably a very newsworthy Dynamite. Let's start with Tony Khan's announcement. So, earlier it was announced that Nigel McGuinness was All Elite. And so, Tony Khan and Nigel were backstage, and Tony Khan started talking about how 5 years ago, before AEW was founded, All In took place. And it is revealed that AEW will be making their London, England debut on August 27, 2023. And then Adam Cole joins the announcement, and he says that they will be at Wembley Stadium to host All In. That's right, All In, making its grand return August 27, 2023, when AEW makes their London, England debut. What a huge announcement. Now, I kind of suspected that this announcement was going to do with the UK tour or UK show, but I did not even think it had to do with All In. That is fantastic news. Like, the first All In, I didn't see the first All In, but I heard it was actually a really good show, and I'm very curious and cannot wait to see this show. But that begs the question, what's going to happen to All Out? As you guys know, All Out, since AEW was first created, has been Labor Day weekend. And with this, you literally is the next weekend. So what's going to happen to All Out? That is my question. But what do you guys think about this announcement? Are you guys excited? Are you guys looking forward to it? And what do you guys think is going to happen at All Out? Let me know in the comments down below. And for the second talking point, we were supposed to get Juice Robinson versus Ricky Starks, but that didn't happen because Ricky Starks was attacked by none other than Jay White. Yes, you got that right. Jay White is now All Elite. He's making his, I should say, re-debut, because Jay White has been on AEW before. But now he's an official member of the AEW roster, and he attacked Ricky Starks alongside Juice Robinson. I cannot wait to see what they do with Jay White and Juice Robinson. We got Bullet Club faction in AEW, so I'm excited. I cannot wait. What are your thoughts on Jay White signing with AEW? In our last bit of news, we got new AEW World Tag Team Champions in FTR. They become the second team to become two-time AEW World Tag Team Champions. The first, of course, being the Young Bucks. And this was a title versus career match, and there was a lot of speculation as to whether FTR was going to leave AEW or if they were going to stay and become new tag team champions. I guess it's safe to say that they are staying in AEW. But now, let's start off the review. So since I already talked about the opening segment, I'm going to jump into what happened afterwards. So we got a Chris Jericho backstage interview where he starts talking about how he's got nothing against Adam Cole, baby, and that he's happy to see Adam Cole back after 9 months. But he talks about how Adam Cole got the win, and then the girl, and then the streamers. And that Adam Cole made Daniel Garcia look like a piece of trash, and Chris Jericho had to put a stop to it. Then Keith Lee shows up, and he says that Chris Jericho is a poster of disrespect, and then next week in Milwaukee, he will teach Chris Jericho a thing or two about respect. So I'm actually pretty excited to see Keith Lee versus Chris Jericho. I think it should be a good match. Next, we get the Trios Championship match. It is a House of Black versus Best Friends and Orange Cassidy. And the funny thing about this is that Sue, Trent's mom, dropped them off to the arena, which she's done before. And this was a good match. Actually, really enjoyed this match. Anna Jay was watching Julia Hart from backstage, so it seems like they're setting up a feud between Anna Jay and Julia Hart. House of Black is victorious, so really good match to kick off tonight's Dynamite. We get the AEW Women's World Title match. It is Riho versus Jamie Hayter. This was a great match. Both women shaking hands at the start. Riho being the inaugural AEW Women's World Champion, and Jamie Hayter being the current AEW Women's World Champion. Now, was it just me, or did Riho during this match did a 619 to Jamie Hayter? They may not have called it that, but that's what it looked like to me. But these women delivered a really good match. I actually completely enjoyed with this match. And with the announcement of the UK show, it would not surprise me if we get Jamie Hayter versus Soraya on that show. That's actually something I'm looking forward to. But of course, Jamie Hayter is victorious after she hits a ripcord Hayter raid to Riho. Then it cuts to the Outcasts backstage. and the Outcasts congratulate Jamie Hayter. And they say that one of them will become women's champion. Renee Paquette is quick to remind them that there is only one title. And Toni Storm says that what's important is that Jamie Hayter isn't champion. So like I said, I would not be surprised if they set up Soraya versus Jamie Hayter for the AEW Women's title in the UK show. Now, that's assuming Jamie Hayter is still champion by August 27th. Daddy Magic and Cool Hand Angelo Parker alongside the Acclaim. And the Acclaim come out and they start talking about how they don't want to be a part of the JAS. And so Angelo Parker says that the Acclaim want to fight alongside them. And he got them a match on Rampage. So we're going to have an 8-man tag match on Rampage. And then the funniest part about all of this is that Angelo Parker attempted to get Daddy Magic to scissor him. And then Daddy Ass stops him halfway. He tells him that scissoring should be left up to professionals. And of course, the Acclaim and Daddy Ass scissor each other. So I thought that was pretty hilarious. Next, we get an MJF segment. And now this segment was really interesting in the fact that MJF did get the key to the city of Oyster Bay. And he got April 5th is proclaimed MJF Day. And if you listen really closely to this segment, I swear you can hear someone in a crowd saying, "It never rains in Long Island." I don't know how true that is, but you can hear someone say that. And so MJF starts singing and he starts dancing. He's actually a pretty good singer, but it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me because if you guys remember 3 years ago, MJF and Chris Jericho had Le Dinner Debonair. You guys remember? And that was actually a pretty cool segment. I actually really like that segment. And MJF showing off his singing skills in that segment. So it's no surprise that MJF could sing. If you haven't seen that segment, I highly suggest you go back and watch it. That was incredible. So once again, MJF gets the key to the city, but he gets a key that's much bigger and up to his standards. And the crowd starts chanting, "You deserve it." And so MJF goes on to say that there are people who don't deserve it, like Sammy Guevara, Jungle Boy, and Darby Allin. He starts talking about how he suffers from ADD, and then ADD chants break out. He tells the story about his teacher that he had, Ms. Benedict, who laughed at him, and that he told her that he wanted to be a professional wrestler, but she told him his chances were slim to none on becoming a professional wrestler. And MJF proclaims he is the reigning and defending AEW World Heavyweight Champion. And he tells people, don't be like Mrs. Benedict. He means don't be a stupid bitch. If you're a Long Island kid who is struggling, if you bust your ass, you can be anything you want except one thing, me. And he goes on to say, because my name is Maxwell Jacob Freeman and I'm better than you. And I actually really liked this whole segment. I thought it was pretty hilarious. I actually enjoyed it. I know there might have been some people that didn't like it, but I liked it. And then as MJF is walking back to this, orchestra that he had, he gets attacked by Jungle Boy. Now, Jungle Boy gets booed. And then security and staff members come and try to pull MJF and Jungle Boy apart. Sammy Guevara comes out and he lifts the title and he shows it to Jungle Boy and then to MJF. And that is how this segment ends. So I'm a little confused here because they were in Long Island. No way is Long Island going to boo MJF. As you can saw by this segment, they were cheering for him and they booed Jungle Boy for attacking MJF. Now, Jungle Boy is a face and MJF is supposed to be the heel. But yet, Jungle Boy was booed. So I feel like it was a mistake to have him attack MJF, at least here. Unless that was the intention to have Jungle Boy get booed. But if that wasn't the intention, then they should have saved Jungle Boy attacking MJF for a different city because he was booed. No matter who attacked MJF, they were going to get booed. And that's evident by how Sammy Guevara came out too. So this leads into Sammy Guevara versus Komander, which was a really good match. Now, Komander, we haven't seen too much of him in AEW, but the little that we have seen, he's impressive. He did a shooting star press to Sammy, a reverse hurricanrana. He walked the tightrope to take out Sammy, a phoenix splash. Now, Jungle Boy, Darby Allin, and MJF were all watching this match. Of course, Sammy Guevara also got some offense, and he actually attacked Komander as he was taking off his coat by doing a knee and a springboard moonsault. I think my favorite spot in this match was actually the finish. You had Komander walk the ropes, and then Sammy Guevara hit the cutter from the ropes, and then followed it up with the GTH. And Sammy Guevara is victorious here. So at the end, you had Sammy Guevara cut a promo. He talks about how the other three pillars were watching, and Sammy basically calls out Tony Khan and says that he did something the world champion doesn't do, and that's wrestle. He says that MJF came out here and beat every single one of the pillars. He recalls to a time in 2021 where Sammy almost beat MJF, but Sean Spears in a steel chair helped MJF. He talks about how MJF's side was built by the people who he tricked to get here. He mentions Cody. He mentions the inner circle. He mentions the pinnacle. He says MJF sold his soul, but Sammy got to put his heart and soul in this place, and he loves AEW. He isn't using it to go anywhere else. He met his wife here. He won championships here. And he said he wasn't going to let a little bitch ruin AEW. And he talks about how MJF is always talking about the great bidding war of 2024. And he says to screw Darby Allin, screw MJF, and screw Jungle Boy because Sammy Guevara will be world champion. So I didn't think this was a bad promo, but the crowd was booing Sammy Guevara. So again, because they're on Long Island, they were not going to boo MJF here. If you would have cut this promo, probably in any other town or city, maybe Sammy Guevara wouldn't have been booed. I know some people, dislike Sammy Guevara and boo him regardless. But still, I feel like in any other city, he probably wouldn't have gotten as much boos as he did tonight. So next we get the FTW Championship match. It's Hook versus All Ego Ethan Page. And one thing that piques my curiosity is the fact that they don't really promote Hook's undefeated like they do Jade Cargill's. Like Jade Cargill, she gets the whole 53-0, but Hook doesn't even get that. So I wonder why they don't promote Hook like that. Has the longest undefeated streak from the guys, but not in all of AEW. So very curious to why they don't treat him like that. But this was an alright match. My favorite part in this match was when you had Ethan Page attempt to do the twist of fate on Hook, but he failed. And then Hook does the twist of fate on Ethan Page. I thought that was hilarious. And while Isaiah Cassidy is distracting the ref, Matt Hardy and Ethan Page play tug of war with the title. Hardy ended up hitting Ethan Page with the title, and this allowed Hook to lock in the Red Rum, and Ethan Page totally just passed out, and so Hook won. Ethan Page is definitely not going to be happy about this. I'm still thinking it's going to lead maybe to Matt Hardy versus Ethan Page if they're still doing that storyline. You know how Ethan Page has Matt Hardy's contract. If they're doing that, I think it might lead to Matt Hardy versus Ethan Page. And if Matt Hardy wins, he would probably free himself and Isaiah Cassidy. Where's Mark Quinn, by the way? Feel like we haven't seen Mark Quinn in forever. Okay, so we get the Blackpool Combat Club versus a bunch of jobbers. And they're just out there beating them up. Of course, Blackpool Combat Club wins this. And Brian cuts a promo about how he loves his family. But you know what else he loves? He loves Jon Moxley and loves him ripping people's mouths. He loves Claudio Castelloni, even if he's destroying people. He loves Wheeler Yuta, even if he's a little shithead. He loves professional wrestling. Now, before I continue further, I have to say Bryan Danielson as a heel is fantastic. He's a really good heel. One of my favorite versions of Bryan Danielson was way back when he was in WWE, and he did the whole Planet's Champion gimmick. Absolutely love that gimmick. It reminded me of an evil Captain Planet. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what heel Bryan Danielson does in AEW. Okay, so now let me continue. He talks about how did those guys even look professional? He says that those look like some guys that EVPs would hire. He says that the four of them are the only professional wrestlers in the building, referring to himself, Jon Moxley, Wheeler Yuta, and Claudio Castelloni. Then Hangman Adam Page comes out, and Brian yells at Hangman, saying that Claudio, Moxley, and Yuta are professionals, and Hangman doesn't have anybody who loves him because no one from the back has come out. They don't even know what love is. Okay, so I'm a little confused how they say that no one loves Hangman when, what about the Dark Order? They've been Hangman's friends since the Elites and Hangman were having issues, yet the Dark Order don't come out at all. And I know the Bucks are injured, so obviously they can come out. So Hangman's just out there by himself, and Brian starts yelling amateurs. He drives a screwdriver into Hangman's face, and Brian says that they're the only real professional wrestlers in AEW and the building and in all of damn America. So I thought Dark Order wanted revenge for what Jon Moxley did to Evil Uno, and you have Hangman come out here all by himself. You have Bryan say that nobody loves him, but yet where's the Dark Order? I mean, I guess, they're trying to reform the friendship between Hangman and the Bucks, but the Bucks unfortunately injured. So where does this leave Hangman right now? And then we have an AEW World Tag Team title match. It's the Guns versus FTR. I did talk about this briefly in the beginning. I did reveal the outcome, but now I'm going to talk about the match itself, especially the finish. So, I honestly thought that there was, a part of me where the Guns were going to win this because, they did 310 to Yuma to Cash, and then you had Colton slide in the title belt, but the ref caught him. But what the ref doesn't see was that the fact that Colton slid in the second belt, they hit FTR with that. The Guns are trying to get disqualified during this match because they knew that they would keep their titles no matter what, but FTR would have to leave AEW. So they tried everything. It didn't work in their favor. And I really like the fact that this was a double pin. You had Dax pinning, I believe, Austin, and you had Cash pinning Colton, but there was a double pin, and FTR is victorious. And like I said, they are the new AEW Tag Team Champions. And I guess that's pretty much safe to say that they are staying in AEW. Overall, tonight's show was amazing. Top to bottom. The only thing that stops this episode from being a Shawn Spears perfect 10 out of 10 is the fact that I was a little confused as to why they had Jungle Boy go out there and attack MJF in his hometown of Long Island, knowing that Jungle Boy was going to get booed in Long Island. So I'm a little confused by that. I had no issues with the segment itself or MJF singing. I personally like that. So that's the one thing that stops it from being a Shawn Spears perfect 10 out of 10. But aside from that, amazing episode. I actually really enjoyed the episode top to bottom. But with that being said, you guys, thank you guys all so much for watching and for the continuous support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever I go live or release a new video. And as in regards to Friday, I know there are 3 shows: SmackDown, Rampage, and Battle of the Belts. I might split up my reviews. I'm not entirely sure yet, but just make sure you keep an eye out for that. Bye.